The Five of Wands in Joe Bandel's Oak Tarot of Love and Romance marks the exact moment where a relationship's spiritual energy reverses, turning a shared dream into a trapping obsession for one and a desperate need for freedom for the other. It's a jarring departure from the traditional image of five people play fighting with sticks. Instead of outward competition, Bandel focuses on a psychological collision where the very intensity that once bonded a couple now begins to drive them apart.
It is such a sharp pivot from the earlier cards in the Wands suit. If you look at the Three of Wands in this deck, you have that electric, idealistic joy where everything feels possible. But by the Five, that high-frequency energy has curdled. The imagery is vivid. You have these five glowing wands clashing in chaotic patterns, but they aren't held by people. They're swirling around a man who is literally walking on clouds, his face completely intoxicated by the connection.
The walking on clouds detail is a perfect metaphor for being untethered from reality. He's so caught up in the bliss of the connection that he doesn't see the shadow purple tones creeping into the palette. He's experiencing what Bandel describes as the male side of this card, this overwhelming sense of being caught up in a connection that feels divine, yet there's this underlying sense of unease he's trying to ignore.
And the contrast with the woman in the card is what makes it so tense. While he's stuck in his cloud-walking intoxication, she's moving freely among others. Her face is radiant and carefree, but not because of him, because she's seeking space. There are these subtle tension lines appearing between them in the art. It captures that claustrophobic moment when the soulmate energy starts to feel like a cage.
Bandel's use of the wands to represent spiritual love is really important here. In traditional tarot, wands are fire, ambition, and conflict. But in the Oak Matrix philosophy, the wands are the spiritual catalyst. So when we hit the Five, we're seeing a spiritual crisis. One person is trying to sustain an impossible level of intensity, that intoxicating obsession, while the other is realizing that for the relationship to survive, or for them to survive, they need to breathe.
It's the reversal of the current. Bandel explains that in his system, love is a circuit of awareness flowing back and forth. In the Five of Wands, the current flips. One person becomes the dreamer who won't let go of the fantasy, and the other becomes the seeker of freedom. If you're the one feeling that bliss, the card is a warning that you might be suffocating the very thing you love.
That's why the oak tree in the background is so significant. It's a recurring symbol in the deck, standing firm amidst the vibrant teals and intense golds. The oak represents grounded reality. It's telling us that the bliss of walking on clouds isn't sustainable. You have to face the shift honestly. If you keep clinging to the dream while your partner is pulling away, those chaotic wand patterns are just going to get more destructive.
The psychological weight of this card is heavy because it identifies a stage of love that most people want to pretend doesn't exist. We're taught that intensity is a sign of true love. But Bandel suggests that this specific intensity in the Five of Wands is actually a form of entrapment. The fantasy starts to feel like a prison. For the person seeking freedom, often the female experience described in this card, the growth of the intensity is exactly what makes them want to run.
It's a call for radical honesty. The Five of Wands isn't necessarily a breakup card, but it's a wake-up card. It's uncomfortable because it forces you to acknowledge that the person you're obsessed with is a separate human being with their own need for space. You can't force someone to stay on your cloud.
Exactly. It's about respecting the sovereignty of the other person. If you can't move from that intoxicating obsession into a more grounded, oak-like connection, the relationship will collapse under the weight of its own shadows. The shadowy purples in the card aren't just for aesthetics, they represent the parts of ourselves we're hiding behind the bliss of the romance.
It's a reminder that even spiritual love needs boundaries. Without the firm ground of the oak, the fire of the wands just burns everything down. Facing that reversal of energy is the only way to move through the chaos and find a connection that actually allows both people to be free. Please share this episode with someone who needs to hear this perspective on the intensity of love.